I'm Dakota with my two co-hosts, Ryan and Dakota.
Other
Hello.
Dakota.
Yeah, there's two of us. We're eventually we'll probably just use like our online alias or whatever the fuck. I don't know. But this episode's gonna be led by my boy because he's been reading a book for the past week and a fucking half.
Bro, there's still so much in the book that I haven't read. There's just so much information, and they just go over so much shit. It's honestly crazy. It's honestly crazy. So
That's
Ryan,
exciting.
what do you what are your
I'm
thoughts
excited to
on
hear all about it.
the recent videos that have been released by the Pentagon and other such things of these crafts?
They definitely, there's definitely something, because
Hold on.
I mean, it's
What
it's
Yeah,
not
video
a
get
is it?
into
weather
that.
balloon. Let's put it that way.
You like just the I'm pretty sure I've showed you them. Just the ones that have been released in like the past
The
2 years from like F-18s where they have like they had like
Oh,
yeah,
where it's like
there's a
a
bunch of them
you've had to
last
have
year.
seen them.
Yeah,
they see the white dot flying around.
Yeah, there's that one. They have one of like just this weird looking thing in the sky, and it's like rotating, and they're like, look at it, it's
disc
flying
shape.
against the
Yeah,
knots. You're flying against the wind. The wind is 120 knots. The opposite direction, type shit.
Holy shit!
And it's just doing it like no problem, keeping up with the jet type shit. Yeah, it's crazy. It's a whole bunch of shit. I could send you the link if you are interested in actually watching that one.
Uh, if you're able to do that and get us
it's a good
started,
one to see if you haven't seen
I
it.
don't have an issue with it. Otherwise, I can just Google it real quick or Bing it since Google is a whore. Never mind, you
I
already
put it in
fucking got
the.
it on lock and key.
It's, you got that 1 gig internet now. You can't do that kind of shit.
Yep.
That shit nice. But yeah,
Ah,
there's that video, and then there's two others, I believe. One of them where they get a lock on an object flying over the ocean, and it's going fast, bro. It's like it's easily going supersonic in low altitude, which is hard.
Yeah, hard to do
I
and
hate
impressive.
how they sound like fucking surfer dudes. They're over here
And they
like,
say there's a whole fleet of them. Well, think about it. Think about it. These people spend hours hours at a time in the sky flying these planes, and they've seen it all. They've seen all sorts of shit up there, right? They have to be well versed in their technology as well as some of the enemies. And you see this thing defying all conventional laws of physics and like propulsion standards. Like, how do you not get excited about that and just say like, bro, what the fuck? Like, what is this thing? And they even say that there's a whole fleet of them. Like, they say that there's more than one.
yeah, that's fucking wild. That's wild. I don't know though, cause with a lot
Yeah,
of these
And
videos, it
that's
could very easily just be some fucking dust on the screen or something. But this one's
though
spinning all the fucking
people
way
have tried to
around.
make yeah, people have tried to make those arguments, and especially with that video, because the way the gimbal camera works is like it rotates or something in the casing, or something along those lines. I could be completely butchering what that is, but then they also say that like it corrects it, so like it wouldn't show on footage, and anybody watching it would know the difference between something like that.
yeah, it's pretty interesting.
The fucking
The it's
some
And
guy commented on the video. Sorry guys, that's my Beyblade. I let it rip too hard.
yeah,
but yeah, and so 60 Minutes did a whole thing about it, and some of the pilots were like, "Yeah, we've been seeing things like this every day for like the past couple years, just flying in restricted airspace, not giving a fuck."
yeah, it's weird. It's weird shit. the thing that gets me is like it could very well be like DARPA shit, right? Like maybe it's not aliens. Maybe it's
Right.
just our own government's top secret shit that they're not telling our own people. But you'd think that they'd at least give them the heads up and be like, "Oh, by the way, if you see something
It's
weird,
possible.
don't
See, but
say
like
anything."
my issue with things like that is if you have this kind of technology and you're doing everything you can to keep it secret, why are you flying it around highly advanced sensory systems?
Yeah, why are you?
And
Yeah, why are you flying them out of the
it
same
doesn't make
bases
sense.
as other people?
And if it was foreign, then why not just say, yeah, it's China, it's Russia.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, and maybe that's just because they
But
don't
like,
want to, maybe it's the whole like they don't want to incite fear by saying the enemy has something way more advanced than we do.
yeah, see, yeah, I mean, if it did come down to that, it'd be like, yeah, it's China and Russia, and we can't do anything about it. But then you have to think, if that's the case, why haven't China or Russia, done something with the technology and just overthrown our shit?
Right. True. Very true.
You still here, Dakota?
Yeah, man.
I'm just making sure, man.
Nah, y'all were going at it. I was watching more
Yeah.
of these videos.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
videos
I
are good.
wasn't
it's crazy,
gonna.
man. There's
I
all
wasn't gonna
sorts of shit.
interrupt while y'all were busy doing that shit.
There's all sorts of shit. It's wild. The whole thing is wild.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, and it is interesting. The thing
But
that is, I like that 60 Minutes. I watched that one too, and that was the most interesting thing to me was that those guys were like, "Oh yeah, we see this stuff all the time. Like it's becoming more and more. Like it's not just once in a blue moon anymore. Because there have been reports, since airplanes have been around, right? Of
yeah,
people
it's
up in the
even
air
before
seeing
that,
weird shit.
even like the Romans, I think, had reports of seeing flying shields and stuff like that. And if you think about it, they wouldn't know what a saucer is.
True. True.
They
I
would say it looks like a shield.
My only problem is the idea. Like I know a lot of the theories out there, but why would they care?
They as in like the aliens?
Yeah,
Well,
like if they're capable of space
you said
travel.
you know the theories. If think about it. What if they did come here and kick-started human evolution, and now they're just watching us at this point?
Well, that's. I,
You're their giant terrarium.
Or
We're not a
I saw a
zoo
post on
planet,
Reddit that
Ryan.
was
I refuse
Unless
to
we
believe
are
that
a zoo
one.
planet.
That's no.
the real
No,
zoo is inside the Earth. Let's be
I
honest.
refuse to. No, shut the fuck up. This
Was
this
that
episode,
was that a deep cut Hollow Earth
we're
theory
less than
too?
9 minutes in, and we're
Yes.
already about to get into a fucking argument on this shit.
The real zoo is
Listen,
the friends
I
we
just,
made along the way.
I swear to
But
God.
you said you've heard the theories.
Yeah.
It could be all sorts of things. But I saw a Reddit post that was pretty interesting, saying that maybe Earth is, contrary to what we would think, maybe it is the most interesting planet in the galaxy right now. Right now, think like,
But
light years away. You have super advanced civilizations that have been around for hundreds of thousands or millions of years, and they're exploring the cosmos, and they see a planet with these little monkey people that shoot rockets at each other, and they see that we're about to start going to other planets. Like, that'd be an interesting thing to watch, like to actually watch another civilization, see how they expand
Yeah.
in the universe and go on to procreate.
That is a little. So have either of you played Mass Effect?
I've
I
played
have not.
800 fucking years ago.
Okay, I just started it because the remaster just came out, and that's almost
The only
like,
thing I have to say about Mass Effect is that the first one is a good RPG, and the third one is a good third-person shooter. And the only thing I give a fuck about anything in the trilogy is that Tali-Zora is 100% fuckable. I don't give a shit that she'll give me fucking space aids. I will demolish that alien ass.
God damn it. That's not where I was going with this at all, but I was just going to say that because in Mass Effect it's similar to that where, they stumble upon the mass relays and then stumble into a galaxy that's sort of already has a commerce and economic structure, right? And then it's like, oh, well, here's these guys. I guess we'll let them in and see what's going on. So it's kind of similar in that aspect of like, oh, these guys are kind of interesting. Let's see what happens if we fold them into this new, grander, more vast, galactic sort of system, right? So I get what you're saying, Dakota. Like if the aliens came by and were like, oh, they're about to get into space, we should watch this and see what's happening.
See, that's one of the fucking theories, is that us splitting the atom is what put us on their radar.
Yeah, hang on. We'll get into that. We'll get into that. That's a lot of that is what I have written down, because we're gonna get into the whole Manhattan Project and that kind of stuff and subsequent events. And I think it'll be really
Albert
interesting.
Einstein was actually an alien.
That is not the theory, but I think if he were an alien, I do not think he would call the spooky action from a distance. Whatever that was referring to, how electrons are essentially paired with each other across space-time, regardless of distance.
Oh, the quantum pairing.
I don't think.
Yeah, quantum pairing.
Yeah, I don't think he would. I don't think he would describe it as that if he were an alien. I think he would very much understand what that was.
Well, you don't know. I mean, look at that motherfucker.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
he's weird as
he's way
shit.
smarter than I was. I'm pretty sure he couldn't tie his shoes though. But
I heard he fucked though. I heard he
like
banged a bunch of chicks. I'm not even lying. That's not even a joke. Like I read somewhere that he was
Did
a lady
Albert
killer.
Einstein fuck? Einstein was a sex magnet? 4 facts about a genius.
See? I'm telling you, I had read something about that.
No way.
Whatever. I mean,
big brain.
He never had any kids, so as far as we know, he did not canonically fuck.
I mean, I guess that's technically true.
Only on written accounts.
He's the one who started spreading those rumors so that people would stop calling him a virgin.
Yeah.
He said, "No, I'm not a virgin."
He wrote fake love letters to himself. He's like,
women.
"Dear Albert, I so desperately yearn for your meaty bratwurst."
Why does that remind me of something that Elliot would do?
It's fucking probably. God. Elliot looks like Einstein. Elliot's a fucking alien. Dakota, you don't know him, but he's a friend of mine and Ryan's. This fucker is weird, bro. He wants to fuck his cousin. Not even
To be
capping.
fair, his cousin's hot.
His cousin is hot.
Listen, whatever people do in their own time between consenting adults is none of my business.
He's in Oklahoma.
Also, just gonna throw this out there. Not only did I give him my blessing, I told him to do it and fuck the rest of his cousins. Like, stake his claim. Prove that he's the superior being.
It's a power move.
It is.
There can be only one cousin
hold
fucker.
on. Everybody,
It's like
everybody calm
like
down.
when somebody that's
We need to
obviously
get back on
over the
track.
correct age, and you still like ask them for ID when they go to buy alcohol.
I'm at the point
We,
in life where I'm now thrilled if they ask me for ID when I buy alcohol.
yeah, you old bitch.
I mean, yes.
Okay. We need to get back on track. Dakota.
Yeah. So the book is called Trinity, the best kept secret. It is written by Jacques Vallée and Paola Harris. Um,
I'm
Jacques
proud of you for
Vallée
pronouncing
is
that
yeah,
properly.
yeah. Jacques Vallée is he's a French scientist. He is very credible. He went to school for computer science, I believe. He got like a PhD in like AI and all sorts of stuff. He's just not somebody in the loony bin, is where I'm getting at. Somebody that you could probably take some substance away from what they have to say. And subsequently, he is a ufologist, so he studies UFOs and reports of whatever that kind of stuff.
Oh.
And then
Oh, my
Paula
first
Harris is
thought
another
with
researcher.
ufologist was a fucking euphemism. I'm like, what does that have to do with anything?
No, like literally like UFO legist,
Yeah, I got you. I
ufologist. Yeah,
figured it out.
yeah,
Context clues.
yeah. Ufologist. It's an actual term, apparently. I don't. I can't imagine people would call themselves that. At least back in back in the day, I feel like that probably would have led to a lot of scrutiny and probably would do more harm than good. But so to start off, we'll talk about World War II. It was a very critical point in America. It was very pivotal and controversial. Einstein had told Roosevelt that funding towards research to use nuclear fission as a weapon would probably be a good idea because it's most likely that Germany was doing the same thing. And if you knew anything about World War II, that's essentially what everything was. Because if Germany was doing it, we had to do it better and first.
Yep.
Like find Hollow Earth and the Fountain of Youth. But that's
Yeah,
beside the point.
that's the Nazis were wild.
The Nazis were wild.
So, in 1942, Roosevelt authored the Atomic Bomb Project, or Project X, the Manhattan Project. Many different monikers for that. And it would require a lot of resources. So, Roosevelt gave it, quote, unlimited funding, unquote. Think about that.
God, I want to be a part of a government program that has unlimited funding so bad.
Think about that. Unlimited funding. And so they knew the project was going to be big and, require a lot of resources. So they came to a place in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and there was a population there, but it really wasn't a lot of people. And they essentially bought everything, and they bulldozed the whole town, and they had to rebuild, like, essentially just a whole new town of fully livable structures. They had schools, hospitals, police, all sorts of stuff. It was like a legitimate town that the government built in a very quick amount of time. I think it was like a couple months. They built a town capable of housing around 75,000 people.
God, it's
which is insane.
It's incredible when you have unilateral.
And really,
yeah.
If you really put it into perspective about how capable the government can be when they want to be.
Right.
Oh, you mean like our government doesn't want the best for its people?
Shh. You're letting out the secret.
Think about that. Right. So the purpose of this town, like I said, was to house people like laborers, scientists, soldiers, all sorts of people. And all these people were there because they needed to build a uranium enrichment facility, known as Y-12. And in this facility, they had a lot of very large magnets used for enriching the uranium through like heat and really complicated process. And originally they were going to go with copper for the magnets, but at the time all the copper was being used for things like ammunition and missiles and all that kind of stuff. So a scientist speaks up and he says, "Hey, what if we use silver, eh?" And they're like, "I mean, that's a good idea, but we would need a lot of silver. And like, where do you just get a lot of silver, right?" So they went to the National Treasury and got 14,000 pounds of silver.
Jesus fucking
Holy
Christ.
shit.
And melted it down to use wiring for these magnets and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, it's insane, the amount of stuff they had to do to do this kind of stuff. And this plant used for enriching the uranium also drew a lot of electricity naturally, and it was stated that it used a total of 1/7 of the entire population of the United States in the time that it was running.
Wow.
And they want to bitch about me leaving my fucking fan on?
And this was just to produce 100 pounds of enriched uranium.
That's...
And the way
What
the
is enriched
enrichment
uranium?
process
The
Weapons
U-235?
Yeah.
yeah, the 235. So you have the uranium, and it goes through all sorts of shit, and then you get
They're just trying to make the
235
right
in minuscule
isotopes.
amounts.
All right,
Yeah,
I got you.
exactly.
Yeah, and so upon doing that, they realized this is a very they just need more. They just have to do more and get more yield for the amount of stuff that they're doing, right? So 11 miles away, they built another large settlement for more people, pretty much to the same extent of the first one. And this is where they were going to build the largest building ever constructed in history. This was called K-25, and this was a gaseous diffusion plant for uranium. So this was the building is in the shape of a U, and like the two legs are each a half mile long, and through that half mile you have long, just super long pipes that the gas form of uranium would go through and get enriched or whatever.
Yeah.
And other such things.
That's crazy. But this is almost kind of similar to what we would now build as like colliders, but this is like the first iteration.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was. I do my research at the same time you're talking. It's a big It's a big U-shaped building.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. Listen, I am totally fine with you doing that kind of thing, because it's very possible that I might have misconstrued, some information here and there, because I really binged writing all this last night.
Like
in a rush.
You were slightly wrong on the amount of silver.
What was the actual number? Because I think I was watching a video and they were talking about everything. And he's like, yeah, they needed 14,000 pounds of silver.
It's a little more than that.
Wow.
Oh, a little more.
12,300 metric tons.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That's a lot more.
I might have just misheard completely and just not have realized what I was... Yeah, that's a lot of silver.
At the end of the war, less than 0.036% out of more than $300 million worth of silver was lost in the process. The rest was returned to the treasury.
Okay, so they didn't end up using all of it, but they requisitioned it for it.
Okay, so they had all that much. They probably only used 14,000 pounds, though.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Maybe I'll do the math on it real quick.
Don't forget to convert from metric tons to regular pounds.
Well, I have short tons here, which is 13,540.
Nice.
But yeah, so while all of that was going on, they discovered a better element they could use that was way more destructive, packed more energy, Plutonium.
Yay, plutonium!
Yeah, good old plutonium. So they constructed, get this, another secret base.
So
No
great. It's
way.
incredible.
And this one is still top secret. The other ones, the K-25 and the Y-12, I think they're still like guarded, but I don't think they're like operational. I don't think I could be pulling that out of my ass.
Well,
But I
they
know
they
Los
don't want you to
Alamos,
think they're operational.
right? They just want you to think it's an old dilapidated
Exactly.
building.
But that's where Hydra is. Hail Hydra.
No, they're in the earth with the Nazis.
Yeah, the Earth is hollow. Jesus fucking Christ, Ryan, you're so dumb.
God, you got.
Hey, look, Godzilla's got to hide somewhere, guys. So
No, he's hiding. He's in a cave under the ocean. He's in the Mariana Trench. What
Yeah,
do you?
with Noble 6.
I've swam
Ryan.
in those waters because I've been to Guam, which is where the Marianas
Yeah.
Trench is.
You see
And
any
that
mermaids?
shit's pretty crazy to think that you're like, okay, so a couple miles that way, you go deep into the ocean and you don't know what is there. Because it's so deep.
I'm honestly terrified of some of the things that could be at the bottom of the ocean.
Oh, I'm sure.
No. Shit's terrifying. I would fucking scream.
Absolutely.
What was the shit you sent me? That fucking
the
mile-long
worm.
The
fucking
bobbit
millipede?
The bobbit
Yeah, the
worm?
bobbit worm.
Yes.
Those things are crazy.
God. I
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
hate
that's-
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're scary.
I hate it so fucking much.
Also, you should look up a frilled shark. Those are kind of nutty.
Ooh.
Frilled shark.
I don't...
But back to the story. So they discovered the plutonium.
Oh, pause.
And,
They only ended up using a little under 10,000 pounds. I did
10,000 pounds.
Yeah, I did the
10,000
conversion.
pounds, 14,000 pounds.
Either way, it's close.
It's not that
I'm just
important.
being
It's
a
still
stickler dickhead.
yeah, it's still a disgusting amount of silver
Exactly.
for magnets.
Hey, if I had
Um,
10,000 pounds of silver, I would own a house.
if I had unlimited funding, I would do many
I'm telling
things.
you, if I had unlimited funding, I'd fucking requisition one of those Herman Miller chairs that's like $7,000 just so that I could have one.
Oh man. So they discover the plutonium and they build another secret base. This time in New Mexico, and this is Los Alamos, which is, like I said, still pretty top secret. They still do a lot of nuclear weapons work there, I believe. And the work that they did here at the time was to design an implosion device. And if you guys don't know, I believe it was the Fat Man that was designed like this, where they had a core of plutonium, and around the core they had TNT, and essentially they would detonate the TNT at such like the perfect moment all around the sphere that it would implode the core and essentially set off the chain reaction, which is really crazy to think, because like the timing to that comes down to milliseconds or even less than that, really, if you want it absolutely perfect. Pretty wild. So
Smarter than me.
Yeah, no, these people. Yeah, I don't know. They know their shit.
You know the crazy thing is these are some of the people that I actually work with, and they're fucking crazy, and it's amazing. Because
you gotta ask them if they would fuck an alien.
I should ask them if, and you know what? Most of them probably would.
God fucking damn it.
I respect them.
Matt Hope.
Matt Hope. Listen, shout out Matt Hope. So anyways, where was I? Gotta find where I was at on my little sheet here.
The Fat Man and the implosions.
Yeah. I knew where I was talking about. I just couldn't find it on the actual thing. So they had a prototype of the Fat Man. This one was called the Gadget, and they were going to. Originally, they had plans to recover any unused plutonium if, say, the reaction didn't actually go off, and the TNT just scattered plutonium everywhere. So they were gonna build like a large concrete concave disc thing to put the bomb in that would essentially catch any plutonium that might have been distributed. But time was running thin. So they decided, fuck that. We're just gonna trust the math, and we're just gonna take the bomb out to the test site, and we're gonna detonate it. We're gonna see what happens.
Fair enough. What's the worst that could happen?
The first test of a nuclear device was set for July 16th, 1945, in Alamogordo, New Mexico. That's where that takes place. So, they detonated the nuke, and it rivaled the intensity of the sun, naturally. And the flash of blinding light from the nuke could be seen over 150 miles away, and the noise from the blast could be heard even further. I think it was around 200 miles for that. And the government actually prepared a press release for the explosion, saying that it was simply just a munitions dump that exploded, causing the bright light. And they pushed that out like the next day, and everyone's like, "Hey, it makes sense. It's just a big ol' ammunition dump that exploded."
Yeah, I mean, if you've never even considered the fact that they could make one bomb that could do that.
Listen, the scientists didn't even know what was going to happen. They had a lot of theories. They thought it was either...
They thought they were going to set the fucking air on fire, and they still did it.
Well, yeah, I mean, scientists got a science.
Would extend to the oxygen.
I understand that scientists got a science, but if you aren't certain whether or not you're going to set the fucking atmosphere ablaze...
But it's just like when they turned on the Large Hadron Collider. They turned on the Large Hadron Collider, and they were like, we could form a singularity. We don't know what's going to happen.
Like, the thing is that they form singularities all the time.
Yeah, but they don't...
but they do that
I know they do that.
Like,
yeah,
they're right.
Yeah, but they still, they're like, we don't know if this one's going to be the one that's going to fuck us over until they turn it on and find out.
Oh my god. Ryan, you are not being a fucking science apologist right now.
A science apologist.
Get your 5G chip installed in your vaccine, kids.
Hey, listen, whenever Elon Musk comes out with that Neuralink, I'm getting it. I'm putting that shit in my brain. Easy.
I'm going to hack it.
Well, don't.
That's what I was telling him. I'm like, somebody could just walk by with a fucking EMP, and you're done.
Yeah, or they could just give me a boner.
What would that be? EMP, erectile mechanical penis boner? Yeah, I don't know. There you go. Something.
So upon the successful testing of the atomic bomb, then it was then recorded. Oppenheimer, one of the lead scientists of the project, was given a statement in which he quoted the Bhagavad Gita, a 700-verse Hindu scripture, where he then said, "I am become death, destroyer of worlds."
Which, if you gotta give a speech, that's pretty badass.
That is bone chilling.
Yeah.
If you watch the video of him actually saying it, that man looks dead.
Oh, there's a video of it?
There is.
Yeah, he's like, bro, what the fuck did I just do?
Yeah, and he's really super oh my god, I think we just destroyed ourselves.
No fucking way.
Here, I'll send you this.
I found it. I got it.
Yeah. It's like 54 seconds.
Yeah, and it haunted Oppenheimer for the rest of his life.
Hold on, I'm gonna deafen myself
Rightfully so.
y'all ain't ruining this shit.
I am become death, destroyer of worlds.
Yeah, it really...
Let him experience that.
He really struggled with the morality of it for the rest of his life.
I mean, think about it, man. Like, you're developing this weapon of mass destruction that is gonna be used on other human beings.
Right.
It's crazy that they tested it, saw the capabilities of it, and then still said that morally they had to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I feel like most likely they could have just dropped
I agree with you. I think they only needed to drop
just
one.
one of them.
I think they only needed to drop
They
one.
probably could have just dropped one.
God.
Yeah, I think the
Bruh.
Japanese
Holy
would have surrendered
shit.
after the first one, but
Easy, bro.
Boys.
Hello.
Holy fuck. Immediately after that video, I'm recommended a video. What was Oppenheimer thinking? Body language behind the fucking whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
The art of deduction. And it's like, oh, they point at his little smirk there. Is he actually joking? Guys, the man just created the single most powerful weapon the human race will probably ever fucking see.
Yeah, it is. The whole thing is really. It's really just an interesting thing to look at. But so just 3 weeks, 3 weeks after the first successful test of a nuclear bomb, the little boy was dropped on Hiroshima, and the fat man dropped on Nagasaki just 3 days later.
yeah, that's crazy.
So, all right, well let's think about it then. 3 days after, do you think they dropped the first one, and then Japan was like, I don't care,
As far as I
and,
remember,
and then they dropped the second
and
one?
I may be misremembering, but I believe after they dropped the first one, they started negotiations right away. I believe they reached out and were like, "Whoa, hold up, you're gonna start
Because I
dropping
know
these
that
bombs?"
I know that the Japanese surrender was done so without any sort of there was no deal in place. It was just like, yeah, we give up.
Yeah, it was very much. We know we have been beaten. And
Well,
the crazy
when-
thing
when-
is,
when-
like, when you look at it morally, like, the craziest part is you do have to think about the fact that, like, the projections of death from a land invasion of Japan were so exponentially more than dropping those two bombs, even though I do agree with you, Dakota, that they did not have to drop the second one. But, like, the projections of actually going to a land war in Japan were, like, a couple million dead, and that's just soldiers, not even including civilians. So
Right.
it's crazy because morally it still seems like, in retrospect, if you really look at the actual tolls of statistics, that it was still the correct decision, even though it was probably the most horrifying thing that humanity's ever done to itself.
I mean, it's really crazy. Like, just thinking about, like, imagine being just so absolutely helpless in that situation that, like, one day you're just sitting in your house minding your business, and then next thing you know, you're literally just disintegrated.
Yeah, you're the shadow of where you stood is now burned into the concrete forever.
See, that's
What's
just crazy to
funny
think about.
is, you said Nagasaki was dropped 3 days later, right?
Yes.
Give me just a minute. August 6th. Yeah, it says both of them were dropped on August 6th.
Was it?
Why?
Listen, maybe it could just be different reports. I don't see why it would be different. It could just be whatever sources I'm getting my information from are full of shit.
I
No,
thought it
like,
was at
it
least
is the 6th and 9th. Like, that's
yeah,
true.
6th and 9th is correct, as far as I've always seen.
I don't know. I still think Hiroshima was a fucking, like, a throw your dick on the table move, and then Nagasaki was unzip and let your balls out move.
I mean, it
No,
certainly was the like. This is not just a one-time thing. We didn't just have one of these. You know, we can glass your whole island if you want. That's basically what it was. It was like, no,
yeah,
look,
that's
we now have the capability
even
to
though we only
completely
had
destroy
two.
you. Right.
We
We
used
only
both
yeah, we
to
did
show
only
that we
have
don't
two.
only have one.
I mean,
Right.
really,
Exactly.
really, we had three, if you really think about it. Because the little
Yeah,
boy
but
was the
the other one
uranium
already
bomb.
blew
The little
up.
boy was uranium, and then the fat
Right. It
man
was
was plutonium.
plutonium.
Was plutonium. So I mean, like originally the plan was to do both with uranium, I think. So I mean, there could be another one just like sitting out there, just full of uranium.
Well, and I'm sure
Yeah,
by
that's
that
a
point
good
they
fucking
could.
idea.
I'm sure by that point too that it wouldn't have been very difficult to construct more
Yeah,
quickly.
well, I mean, now there's so many nuclear warheads out
Oh
there.
God,
it
we could
doesn't
destroy
even-
the planet so many times over with the amount of nukes that we have.
Yeah, easy. Yeah,
That's the
easily.
whole MAD thing.
And I'm pretty sure they've got some out here because I'm right next to Nellis Air Force Base, and I think they could keep some of the nukes out here.
Listen, hey man, keep your eyes in the sky. Look out for that kind of shit. I'm telling you.
We've
He's
got,
gonna wake up one morning and he's gonna hear a burst of wind next to his window, and he's gonna be like, "Well, fuck."
You're
That's
gonna see
it.
a bright blue light. You're gonna levitate out of bed through your
That'd
window
be
somehow
sick.
up into the ship. This time was important in American history, obviously, because it was basically what sealed our victory in the war with Japan because they surrendered immediately after. And it was the start of humanity's nuclear capabilities and opened the door for other sorts of groundbreaking science. And as I'm sure you guys are aware, because we already talked about it a little earlier, some say it is what started the visitation of extraterrestrials, or just UFOs in general. Maybe not aliens. We don't know that yet. And so, just 2 years after the first nuke, there were hundreds of documented UFO sightings, and one of the most iconic cases was a weather balloon that crashed down in Roswell on June 14th in 1947. Or so they say, because what truly went down was a flying saucer. It was them aliens. That's the only thing that makes sense, truly.
I mean, there's at least a diner or two out there that would have you believe that.
Yes, the Owl Cafe, I believe. Oh, hang on. The Owl Cafe is actually where a lot of the Manhattan Project scientists stayed at.
That's cool.
Because it was close to the thing. That was in the book.
What, they would just fuck? That's their Waffle House.
Yeah.
That was their local.
That's-
People
great.
would see Oppenheimer in there
That's
and all sorts of
pretty
people.
crazy.
Do you think the citizens were just like, why are all of these bigwigs just chilling in
They
our
probably
diner?
didn't realize they were bigwigs.
Well, it was explained in the book that the way these people dressed, it was very obvious that they weren't from there.
Got it.
But it was also obvious that these people are probably really important, and you probably shouldn't talk to them.
They rolled up like the Men in Black folk.
Yeah. So my theory is out the window. They did
It's
realize they
possible.
were bigwigs.
The Men in Black also possible. We can get into that too.
That's a whole other episode.
Not this episode. Not this episode. If I brought up everything that's gone through my head, we would be sidetracked so fucking bad right now.
No, absolutely.
Like,
But so we'll get back. We'll get back to this real quick though. So July 4th, a local rancher goes out to the crash to pick up some of the debris, and he turns it in to the local sheriff. 3 days after that, on July 7th, the sheriff then contacts Colonel.
Hey, hold on,
Blanchard at the
wait.
Roswell Army
was the
Air Force.
crash on the
Yes.
4th?
No. The crash was on June 14th.
And it took him almost a month?
Oh, he's just a farmer. He's just like, I'm just gonna get some of this stuff because I'm out here, He wasn't like he didn't see it and plan on.
Still, if something fucking crashes in my backyard, I'd be out there in a fucking heartbeat.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know the exact circumstances. It could have been a whole bunch of things, but keep in mind the time is 1947. You really don't have any kind of ideas of
maybe it took him that long to
of
get his tractor
aliens
to
or-
drive out there. You never know.
He might have just been like, it's someone else will handle it. Maybe goes out to see if there's some kind of debris there afterwards. Maybe, who knows? So he goes out and he finds some debris and he turns it into the sheriff a few days after that. But I don't see why he would go out one day and then wait
Yeah, that's a little weird.
X amount of days and then
Turn it in.
turn in.
That part's weirder to me than waiting to
Maybe
check
the
it
sheriff was out for the weekend. I don't
Could
know.
be.
Yeah, it's
so-
fucking 1947.
Yeah,
They
rural
probably
New Mexico. Who knows?
Yeah.
he was
so-
probably drunk as shit.
The sheriff then contacts Colonel Blanchard at the Roswell Army Airfield, and this base is important because it was home of the elite 509th Bombardment Group, which are the same people that dropped the 2 nukes on Japan. So, report of the crash moves up through multiple people, goes up the chain of command, and eventually the chief intelligence officer of the 509th was sent out to inspect the crash. And whenever he briefed Colonel Blanchard about the crash, he said, he's like, hey, we got a flying saucer out here. So...
Did he use flying saucer?
Yes.
So he's like, we've got a flying plate.
He's like, we got a flying saucer out here. Or I guess the intelligence officer briefed Blanchard about, he's like, yeah, there's just something out here. It's round and I don't know what the fuck it is. Blanchard had ordered the public information officer to do a press release the next day stating that they had recovered, quote, a flying saucer. But they changed the story on the same day. Because once they had moved up through various people, one of the generals of the army had requested the materials and said, nah, it's just a weather balloon. After, he got a look of it himself. And they actually took a picture. It was him and the intelligence officer like standing next to what essentially just looks like tinfoil and sticks on the floor. He's like, yeah, you stupid idiot. This is just a weather balloon. This isn't a flying saucer. What are you, stupid? You big dumb idiot. So they prepared another press release immediately after the flying saucer one, but with corrected information saying that, well, it was just a weather balloon, really.
Yeah, I remember seeing that where they were like,
Mhm.
the thing we said 2 days ago is not true. We lied. This is what it is now. Also, we're sending in a shit ton of military to go pick this weather balloon up.
Yeah.
No worries. It's definitely a
yeah.
weather balloon, guys. We promise.
Yeah. And after that, the rancher that went out and saw the weather balloon was getting a lot of hate. A lot of people were just coming at him like, you're fucking wasted. You're wasting our tax-paying money. All this kind of stuff. So eventually, he came out and said that he was he was sad, or I can't remember what it was specifically. It was basically him just saying that he was sorry that he ever came forward about it. Basically. And after that, everything just kind of went cold. Everybody forgot about the case. Everybody went on with their days. Nobody really said anything about it. At least until 1978, whenever nuclear physicist Stanton Friedman, a UFO researcher, had interviewed the now retired intelligence officer of the 509th, and the intelligence officer said it was definitely not a weather balloon. The officer then goes on to explain the properties of the wreckage, saying the metals were no thicker than that of the foil in a pack of cigarettes.
So like a weather
Except
balloon.
it was extremely rigid. Yeah.
It sounds like
Except
a
it was
weather
extremely
balloon.
rigid and wouldn't misshapen even after taking a sledgehammer to it.
Sounds not
Interesting.
like a weather balloon.
So there were numerous theories about what had actually happened. At one point, even the government came out and said, "Yeah, it's a cover-up, but it is a cover-up, but it is also a weather balloon. It's just a super advanced weather balloon, one that's used to detect shock waves in the atmosphere." something along the lines of Project Mogul, I think is what it was called. It was essentially supposed to be the same thing as like underwater detection things that they had, except it was for the
Like
atmosphere.
air seismographs?
Yeah, it was a weird thing. So the government said that yeah, it was a weather balloon. It was just one of our super advanced weather balloons.
Totally.
Yeah, we lied
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
Yeah, we were covering it up.
Super advanced
So
weather
the whole thing
balloon.
is weird.
Yeah, that is weird. I mean, it sounds like it's too early for a satellite research, but that's almost more of what it sounds like, right?
Hmm. Yeah, it was like
Like if
I can't remember
if
what it
it's
was
not
specifically.
alien, if it's actually terrestrial, it sounds like some like
Uh-huh.
super secret, like they're trying to figure out satellites or missiles or something.
Absolutely. However, I don't understand how a weather balloon could crash in the desert and put a gouge in the earth where it crashed.
Yeah,
Personally,
the whole
but
point of a weather balloon is
You
to kind
don't.
of
That's
float.
because you don't have enough faith in your government.
I have
you
zero
know
faith in my government.
that might be the case. That might be the case. So on top of the government saying that it was just super advanced weather balloons, there were also reports that they had recovered things like alien bodies along with the actual craft itself.
So is
And
that where the little gray man thing came in? Like, is that the first time it's documented that it was like little gray men?
I don't know specifically. I believe there were a few accounts where people had described them and said that they were, like 4 feet tall, like gray beings.
Okay.
They were. I could be remembering that wrong. And I believe there was an audit at some point of like the Roswell airfield or some shit, and they had requested records from January to October of that year
And
to
they
find
said
out
no.
that they had all been destroyed, and they were done so by some unknown government entity.
Interesting.
I know who it was.
Who was it?
It's the Nazis.
I
No,
mean,
it was
by
Lale
that point,
Lo.
we did have several Nazis on the payroll. So, former Nazis.
Yeah.
Former Nazis.
Yeah, Operation Paperclip
Yeah.
and other such things.
Exactly.
It was Lale
Yeah,
Lo, man. I promise.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is either.
Oh,
And there were hundreds of people that were claiming to see alien bodies. People from civilians to high-ranking public officials, military personnel, all sorts of people claim that they've seen alien bodies from like this crash specifically. And many of the people who originally held fast on the idea that it was just a weather balloon eventually came out later in life saying that it was definitely something otherworldly and unexplainable. Even the intelligence officer that was sent out recounts about some of the materials, saying that some of it would remember its shape even after being crumpled up. Like, you could crumple it up like a ball of paper and it would just immediately go back to the shape it was. And we have stuff like that now, but at the time, we didn't know anything about like memory materials.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And now I think, even now, the stuff we have has to be done like with heat to get it back to its original
Yeah,
shape.
heat or electricity, I think.
Yeah, this just went back regardless.
That's
Some of the metals, now keep in mind what I'm saying right here. Some of the metals were able to be torn like paper, and then there was some that you couldn't damage at all. They literally took a hammer to it and just couldn't do anything.
yeah, that's really interesting.
And ultimately, everything about Roswell has just been an enigma, and for the longest time, it's really been essentially the first crash of UFO history with almost definitive proof of extraterrestrial life, and the fact that the government has been covering it up. But that's just if you consider, eyewitness accounts, I guess, as proof, and whether or not these people are telling the truth.
Right. Which I believe
but-
that those people probably are telling the truth as far as they know it. Like, I don't necessarily
yeah.
think that anybody's
Yeah.
lying there, but the lack of knowledge that we have as humans creates We try to fill in the gaps. And so if it's something we don't understand, then we're going to say some shit that as it makes sense to us, right?
Yeah, I mean, Bob Lazar, during his interview with Joe Rogan, talked about how the flying saucer that he worked on in Area 51, that the technology was akin to magic because it was so advanced.
Well, that's the thing, right? Because even a fucking Bic lighter would seem like magic if you go back in time far enough.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, and that's only 100
like,
years.
Go back to the Victorian period and drop in a nuclear reactor.
Right.
See what happens.
I mean,
they're all gonna die.
Yeah, 100 years ago, you could take almost anything we have now and show it to people, and they'd be like, "Oh my god!"
See, but that's the thing, Ryan. That's the thing. You kept saying 100 years. Why did technology advance so quickly? When we were stuck in the fucking dark ages for hundreds of thousands of years.
That's what we think, but how much of that is like just wasted away, right? Like how much, like, because it's one of those things where like how did they really construct the pyramids? How did?
I'll tell you how. The giants.
I mean, that's that is
I'm not even. I ain't even fucking joking.
I know you're not joking. That's the problem.
The alternate history shit.
Oh god.
I fucking love it. I will. Ever since
So you're on about the race of giants? That's a whole other episode.
Ever since Greg's series on it, I've fucking loved that shit. Like I deep dived. I was insane in the membrane type shit with the alternate history, fucking Tesla and the giants and all of that.
There's certainly some interesting stuff in there. Yeah, it is definitely wild. But I think part of it is just that technology builds on itself too. So once you start to get the ball rolling,
absolutely,
it's much easier to keep that going. And it gets exponentially.
Yes.
Human knowledge is
exponential growth.
Exactly.
Yada yada yada.
So once the Industrial Revolution hit, I'm not saying it's aliens, but
no, it's not aliens. That's stupid. There's no such thing as fucking ancient aliens. That's retarded.
But giants. Yeah,
the giants.
Oh man.
I just had a fucking. As soon as you brought up the pyramids, I had a fucking MK Ultra sleeper agent just fucking. Let's go.
So yeah, the Roswell crash happened, and it was essentially the whole start of the whole UFO phenomenon, and really kickstarted everybody's interest in it as far as like the loons go, the crazy people,
the conspiracy theorists.
But what if I told you that there was actually another crash 2 years before that? One that's been so shrouded in secrecy that the two key witnesses have kept silent for decades.
I'm interested in that.
And this crash is even more important than the one in Roswell, because this is the best kept secret.
Oh my foot, you motherfucker. I cannot believe you just fucking movie titled that bullshit. Do they do that in the book?
Do they do it in the book? Oh, probably at some point.
But that's
I
perfect.
Swear to God,
and you know what's also perfect is and so this will be like I'll state it now just for the audio record, so it's a little bit easier. So at this particular moment, our audio position's at like 59 minutes of recording, and that's actually a killer spot to end an episode, to be a hook for the next episode.
Hey guys, we are ending this episode here. We actually recorded probably like an extra 20-30 minutes going into the story about this book, the book Trinity, The Best Kept Secret by Jacques Vallée and Paola Harris. It's a really good book. I highly suggest you're able to read it. It's a very compelling story about Jose Padilla and Reem Baca, two very young kids who lived near the first test of the gadget, the nuclear device that we talked about earlier, and their experiences after that. It's a really good story and definitely worth listening. So thank you for coming by. I hope you have a good night. Thank you.